Okay, so I just watched Doctor Who, Dot and Bubble, and it was a pleasant enough surprise in that it was a fairly decent episode, to be honest. And out of the ones RTD has written this series, it's definitely my favourite out of the ones RTD has written. Not as good as Boom, but this is easily probably the second best episode of the series, so yeah, overall this does give me more hope on things, improving, because this episode was definitely a lot better. It was interesting. I don't know if you class this as a Doctor Light episode. I don't know. It's kind of cusping on the edge of that. But it's interesting to have like two episodes in a row, which are basically Doctor Light episodes. This could be because seasons 1 and 2 and that were being filmed in that back to back. So maybe it was to, cut back on a bit of Ncuti Gatwa so he can go off and film other things. I don't know, because the majority of his screen time is literally this, just on a backdrop like that, on a call. But yeah, the premise is pretty interesting. I know RTD, likes his, exploring technology in the future and that and how it will evolve. He did this a lot in Years and Years, and in his original run, and that in Doctor Who as well. But yeah, so I'll basically minor spoiler it as much as I can, because I just have to explain what the plot is. So basically, in the future, and that these rich kids and that gets sent off and that to this planet, and essentially they have this machine called a dot, and which basically projects a bubble and that around their head, where they basically nax along to their friends nax all day and only have to work 2 hours a day. And they keep this bubble around their head at all times, and basically then these monsters start eating them one by one, but since they're in the bubble and that, they don't really notice, apart from a lot of their friends just seem to go missing offline. And that's premise. It's a decent enough premise. The monster, oh, why? And this is something that started in the Chibnall era as well, but why do they keep making practical monsters, which look pretty good, and then just CGI over them? Because, oh my god, there's a couple of shots, like POV shots from the monks, where you just see its tendrils, and those generally haven't had the CGI put over them. And it's obvious because they look better. They actually look better. But when you see the full monster, it's all CGI'd, and it just looks bad. Like, there's an opening CGI shot, like a panning shot. Oh my god, the CGI just looks so bad in this episode. Like, whenever there's any CGI in this episode, it just looks really bad. Yeah, I just whoa. I don't know why it looks this bad, but it does, and it's a shame because I don't know what it's about the monsters. They remind me a bit of the Fendalines and that from Image of the Fendal. A bit, the design of them. I mean, they're nothing spectacular, and that it's just basically a monster, and that's basically it. But yeah, just oh god, they just look so bad when they've CGI'd over them, and they call it CG enhancing. Like, if you're basically just gonna CGI over the entire thing, so basically there's not, it's just like, why bother? You're just wasting the budget then. Like, I'd rather them not bothered making practical, monsters, practical effects in that case, because you're literally just throwing money away for no reason. You're basically double dipping, essentially. I really don't get why they keep doing this. It's a shame, because that was probably the weakest element in that. The resolution at the end of the episode, and that, well, I should say the ending itself, I did find interesting. It went in an interesting way, not in your typical way, but I kind of prefer it in that to that regards. I'll talk about that later when I talk about spoilers and stuff like this. But yeah, overall it did a decent job. But there's a few things I do want to talk about, and so just a bear warning. From now on, I'm going to talk about spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, go, do that. I would recommend this episode for just regards in terms of that. So, excuse me, there's a character called Ricky, and Ricky, and that, who's basically a singer and that, and basically he acts a little bit strange, like really odd. Like when we first, see him properly in the episode, I initially had in my head, is this, an android that the Doctor is controlling? Because there's a lot of occasions where he talks and acts like the Doctor, which is a bit odd. Yeah, he basically explains that, it's because I turn my bubble off and that, and I read books and everything like that. So, yeah, it's a bit odd. And our main character for this episode basically murders him, essentially, for no reason. Well, I say murders, basically, has him killed for no real reason. Like, I understand that she, was in danger there, but, he gets killed. He gets killed, and she lies about it as well. Like, there's no sort of repugnance for that. Maybe it's a thing that'll come in later, because, again, in this episode, obvious foreshadowing is obvious, and literally they make it obvious where the Doctor literally goes, okay, we'll save that for later. We can just say, yeah, obvious foreshadowing is obvious. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know with that. But his death is also a more gruesome one. It's off screen, and that's partially off screen, but yeah, essentially, the dot basically shoots through his head like a massive bullet. So, yeah, obviously we don't get to see that, but that's basically what happens. And yeah, interesting. Also, why did he put the pipe down? I don't know. Like, Death, I just kind of had a bit of a problem about it. I think just the way it was done. I don't know. But the ending, though, we'll talk about that now. I can't tell if RTD's trying to comment on something, I don't know, but I do like the fact that, these Riksha are so indoctrinated and that into the way and that things are that literally, the Doctor says, come on, I'll come save you, take you away, you can go anywhere and that, and they refuse. They basically point blank them, just like, no, and you are not part of our system. We cannot be part of you. I wonder what RTD is commenting on. I don't know. I wonder why he's commenting on that, because there's various things he could be commenting on there. And that, though, could be a bit, pot kettle black here at RTD. Just saying. If that is one of the things, I don't know. Like, for example, people who criticise you, just like, oh, you're not allowed in our special little club. Is that it? I don't know. Could be reading into that too much, but you never know. But I do like the Doctor has a bit of a breakdown. And also a bit of spittle remains on Ncuti Gatwa's coat for a good 20 seconds there. Ugh. But that got left in. So, yeah. Also, interestingly, this is the only time so far during the series, and it's very briefly, we see Ncuti Gatwa wearing his, full original promotional costume that he was shown wearing, and that in the first photo shoot reveal of his costume. So, yeah, there's that. But, yeah, I don't know, the ending just kind of felt like, I don't know, just kind of like, is there more to this? Is there less to this? it just kind of felt like, okay, it's over type thing. It's just like, so are the creatures just going to continue, the monsters, are they just going to be left to roam wild or what? Like, I don't know, it just feels like it didn't have the full resolution on that at the end. And, if all of the people on the homeworld are dead and literally this is the only survivors, like, they're fucked anyway. So, I don't know. I got mixed feelings on that ending. I just kind of felt like, okay, this has to end. This has to end, like, now. I don't know. It felt like just like, a line or a mention of just like what you're going to do about, these creatures and that. And the AI, the artificial intelligence that began to hate the humans, that isn't stopped either. That's just, so, yeah, there's no resolution to that. It's just, they technically got out the city and that and got away. So that's it. I don't know, just like, is there nothing more to do? It just kind of feels like stuff was either cooked or forgotten about. I don't know, I felt like, it feels like this episode, if it was maybe an hour long rather than 45 minutes, maybe that could have been addressed, or it be a two-part or something like that, because, I don't know, it just kind of feels like, there we go, that's the end of it. I don't know. It could be something that's maybe into playing the finale or not, or who knows, but yeah, the ending just kind of feels like, okay, it's the end of the episode now, things have to stop. But there's all these other things, just like, so what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that, But, there you go. But overall, still a pretty decent episode, so yeah.